All right. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for coming in and all of that good stuff. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna talk about all the good stuff. First of all, sexual transmutation is a act of where you transfer that sexual energy into something else. You transform it into by some channeling it in a positive way. So you're using that sexual energy that you've put in place, and now you're channeling it to a higher power, either by giving birth or manifesting with it. But you have to do it with someone who is on the same mindset as you. I did a previous video on semen retention and all of that, talking about how it benefits a man and how I see it pertaining a woman's perspective. The difference between semen retention and just retaining from sex as a woman is completely different from a man, because our biological makeup is completely different. We're not going to sit here and act like men can do what women do and women can do what men do. In each instance, there is a benefit for both genders to thrive equally. The thing I see on videos on YouTube is it's more of like you're trying to have brownie points, or trying to get a cookie for who can benefit from this. Both men and women need to do work on themselves to enhance. Let's just look at the basic thing. When you have children and you're starting a generation from you and your spouse, you need to create the best generation there is possible. And in order to do that, you need to work on yourself all round, okay? Don't let these people out here trick you into believing that semen retention, it's a lot of misconception I see too, that misconception of semen retention is just to make the man more superior and he can do whatever he wants. That's the whole thing being thrown around or whatever. Only the people who are ignorant to this topic explain it well. For the woman retaining now, and then it reaches out to hypermasculinity and hyperfemininity, and it's just a bad mixture on both sides. So I want y'all to understand that these things can be used in a negative and bad space just as it can be used in a positive space. With that being said, before I say how women retain, I'm going to just say this. The problem is not sex. The problem is not bringing a life form into this space. Sex is a powerful weapon, And a lot of people misconstrue this and put a negative connotation on it, especially in the Western world. If you look at the Eastern world, I shouldn't even put the world. I shouldn't put a target. The world itself has strayed away from traditional ways and traditional understanding of how sex is supposed to be used. Now, transmutating energy, it comes from the word transmutating, transforming energy into something greater than yourself, bringing something that you want through sex. The thing with sex too, especially in this time and how it's going in this time and era, especially in women feel as if they need to be hypersexual. And it's being weaponized now. Women feel like they need to be hypersexual to get attention, and then use the excuse of the women who aren't aware they're being hypersexual, but they know they're being sexual, but don't know they're being hypersexual. There's a difference. It's portrayed in the media and whatever. But it's not the female's fault per se, but they do have a part to play. It is on both. This is when both sides of the spectrum, male and female, don't use their power in a positive light. If men didn't go ahead and, first of all, I honestly feel like the reason why it got to that state is because some men felt jealous of how women can carry children and still be able to take care of what needs to be done, what they can do. So honestly, some men do feel threatened by women because they can do what they cannot. And on the other hand, women feel so empowered that they can do all these things without men, and they say to themselves, I don't need a man. And that's where the whole scale goes off kilter, and that's where the unbalance comes from. So what I'm about to say is about to help you understand that these things are needed for you to get back your balance, okay? So how you can retain is the easy part, right? The instructions to do it is the easy part. It's doing it that is the hard part, okay? So you're going to take your time with yourself. You're going to meditate. You're going to do yoga. You're going to inform yourself on things that you're lacking. Anytime you feel an emotion, for example, you feel for outside of yourself, if you feel like someone is selfish, that means you're missing selfishness from yourself. Because we see people, what we see in people or what we attract is ourselves. So if you attract someone who is selfish, that means you need to be selfish yourself, if that makes sense. If you attract someone who is hardworking, but you kind of feel some type of way, that means you have the power to be hardworking, but you haven't triggered it. So now you're lacking of something, and now you see that person doing that, and now you're off. So now retaining that energy allows you to boost it. It's like a Duracell battery, basically. It just gives you the energy to execute anything that you had in mind. And that's what retaining can do to you as a woman. And I really feel like we need to do this because a lot of women are just... I watched an interview with a man talking to a woman. I don't know if he was what he was labeled, if he was gay or straight or whatever, but he was telling this woman that but she came to him for advice. It's a popular video going around, and he was just going off and saying all kinds of shit. He was like, oh, ma'am, you don't look like you deserve somebody like that. Like, he was just being so mean, and I'm just like, this is the type of energy that's going out there. And then her response was something like, oh, but my body is like 10, you know what I mean? I'm just like, this is what we're doing. This is where we're at in this life. And you have to remember as well, women, the hypersexuality, listen to how off kilter this whole thing is. Women's peak is, towards the 30s and 40s, they say. I am not 30 or 40, so I don't know. Right? But look at this, to how they're pushing the agenda. If a woman's peak is 30s and 40s and a man's peak is around 20 to this, where are they getting this data from? I certainly know it's not me and not my melanin, because melanated people be having children way past 40. So That's another thing. Do your research pertaining to your biological makeup. Don't just go on Google and think that this is just what I should take and go through. Okay? Google is just an engine where people put information for you to just take. Okay? Do your research. I always say to people, if you're going to take something, don't take it with a grain of salt. Okay? Don't go out there and say, okay, I'm gonna take a bite of that and that's true. Because I honestly believe in every place of the world, right? We're supposed to adapt to a certain place and time. There is no general thing for each race, and that's just the honest truth. Some races thrive more in certain temperatures. It's just like animals. Animals that thrive better, their bones and structures and their adaptation to that environment, they thrive there compared to if they were to move somewhere. If you put a freaking cheetah in Antarctica, it would take him a long time to adapt to that. And generations for it to adapt to that. So why, for example, as black women, because I'm black. I'm not black, but that's what these people call us. Why us as black women are taking medical advice from people who are not us? And why are white women going to herbal doctors when, it's just like a weird mixture of things. Everybody wants to be involved in something, but no one's trying to do it the right way. I understand everyone's trying to get information from everybody, but let's be honest, okay? The Chinese research their people and they do what they do. China is a prime example of how a nation has evolved from their history to now. Even though it's going through some stuff right now, but you can't tell me that when they go to the hospital, their doctors don't know how to treat this person. Back home in the Caribbean, I certainly know that they don't know how to treat us as black people because they use European medical systems to treat us. So this is why I'm saying, don't go on the internet expecting to get answers for everything. And that's just that. And I'm going to conclude this video by saying, women, we need help. We need help in all areas. We need help in all forms. There's no excuse around it. Stop being lazy. Get in touch with your inner feminine. Get in touch with what you need to know about. I keep saying there's free iBooks, there's free PDFs, there's all kinds of things that you can learn yourself. You need to learn about your body. And you need to learn about what you're putting in there. 80% of women in the world, especially in the Western world, have fibroids, cysts. They can't have children, incapable of doing so because they're being fed the wrong information because of something. We are being used as weapons. Okay? We are being used as weapons. They do not want us to thrive. This is specifically pertaining to women. I'm not going to touch on men yet. We are being attacked. Black women, we are being attacked. White women, I know y'all are being attacked too. Other gender of women, I know you, but I do not know that war or that fight. I am a woman of African descent and a nation of Jamaican culture. I do not know what it is to be that. I know what I am, and that is what I'm speaking on. We need help. We are in a Caribbean island, we are in an African island, and we do not even we have so much land to plant our natural food, but yet we've been colonized and been fed meat, red meat, chicken, all kinds of shit that we eat, and we consume it every week, every day. We're eating food out of a tin that's been salted, processed, all kinds of stuff. Degrading our melanin. White meat degrades our melanin. But I'm not going to touch too much on that. I just wanted to explain how you as a woman, retainment helps you. And stop using the excuse that you need a man and you need money to survive. You don't. There's always a choice to make, and there's always an option to make. It's up to you and how you want to make it. And once you've made that decision, you have to deal with the consequences. And I live by that word every day to hold myself accountable. You should do that too. Thank you for listening to this. This is a new way I'm trying to go through, because I feel as if me filming myself in front of the camera takes away from the message that needs to be said. So, yeah. Thank you for watching my video, and